Today I'm going to be watching this video. It's called "Is Finland Really the Happiest Country in the World?" And yeah, of course, watching videos about Finland, I've seen that mentioned quite often that it's officially the happiest country in the world by quite a few different metrics. So interested to see this and also to get feedback from people who watch this from Finland to whether you think it is the happiest country, whether you're happy. What's the most important factor in Finland being the happiest country in your opinion? Tell me in the comments. Let's watch this one.
Finland has been named the happiest country in the world this year according to the 2021 World Happiness Report. In fact, for the past 4 years, Finland has held the title of the happiest country in the world. The United States, on the other hand, is ranked 19. From 2011 to 2016, Finland held the title of the most stable country in the world. Finland is a top performer in numerous metrics of national performance including education, economic competitiveness, civil liberties, and quality of life. Finland has one of the highest GDP per capita in the world and it has risen dramatically in the past few decades. Today, Finland has less than just 5,000 homeless people and one of the most robust social infrastructures in the world. The average life expectancy of Finns is 82 years compared to the global average life expectancy of 72.6 years. So we can safely say that Finns live a pretty safe and satisfactory life. But is satisfaction equal to happiness? And can we really quantify happiness? Despite having
I guess that's the question, how do you quantify happiness if you do? But when you look at it that way, when you see all those different areas, whether it's education, the lack of homelessness, the economic situation, the increase in GDP, these are a lot of good things in a lot of varied areas that are very positive for Finland, and whereas some other countries might get one or two of those things performing well, like in Finland it's all of these things. I can see why people would be happy.
Happiness. Despite having such high living standards, poor mental health is something that plagues the small Nordic country. Mental illnesses affect roughly 1 in every 5 people in the nation. Finland has a high suicide rate. It has a suicide rate of 13.5, which means for every 100,000 people, 13.5 commit suicide every year.
Whoa, okay. Again, tell me what you think about that. I guess with the mental health, if that is high, it could be because it's more recognised and more dealt with through official means like going to the doctor and stuff, whereas in other countries it's not as accepted. Like here in Asia, for sure, depression and mental health issues, they don't get the respect and help that is needed for it. It doesn't get recognised as much, but that could be that. But the suicide one is quite high compared to other countries who would recognise it, which surprises me. Tell me why you think that would be.
6% of Finns suffer from depression. Drug and alcohol use disorders affect 4% of the Finnish population, which is well above the EU average of 2.4%. In fact, Finland's rank as the happiest country even surprises Finns. So is Finland really the happiest country in the world?
Like with regards to the mental health and all that, do you think it could even be anything to do with like not being as sunny? People say, and I mean that seems like a very silly argument, but people do say that like vitamin D is very important to a person's happiness. And obviously with the longer cold dark winters, you don't get that access unless you're taking extra vitamins and stuff like that. But what other reasons do you think it could be?
Finland is a Nordic country in Northern Europe with a population of around 5.5 million. Finland was an agriculture-based country until the 1950s. After World War II, the country rapidly industrialized and developed an advanced economy while building an extensive welfare state based on the Nordic model, resulting in widespread prosperity and a high per capita income. And today, Finland has one of the best standards of living in the entire world. But Finland is not how you'd imagine the world's happiest country to look like. The country doesn't exactly have the warm, breezy shores of the Mediterranean. The Nordic country has to deal with 200 days of winter where temperatures can go as low as minus 20 degrees Celsius and 2 whole months where the sun never rises above the horizon. The gray and gloomy weather has a profound effect on the mental health of Finns. 85% of adult people in Finland observe that seasonal changes affect their mood in some way. Studies have found that around 12% of Finns suffer from seasonal depression during the winters. The World Happiness Report uses data from interviews of more than 350,000 people in 160 countries conducted by the polling company Gallup. The report tends to use 6 factors as predictors of life evaluation. These factors are GDP per capita, social support, healthy life expectancy, freedom to make life choices, generosity, and corruption.
Yeah, so again, like it's 6 different areas to look at in determining happiness, but I guess there's probably a lot more factors that can affect happiness as well. Is there any other things that you think would be more suitable than any of these 6 in determining happiness?
To determine the happiness, the study asked people questions like, please imagine a ladder with steps numbered from 0 at the bottom to 10 at the top. The top of the ladder represents the best possible life for you and the bottom of the ladder represents the worst possible life for you. On which step of the ladder would you say you personally feel you stand at this time? And binary questions like, are you satisfied or dissatisfied with your freedom to choose what you do with your life? These types of questions are a widely used measure of general life satisfaction. And we know that societal factors such as income levels, access to healthcare, the extensiveness of social services, low levels of crime, freedom from oppression, and trust in government and fellow citizens can explain a significant proportion of people's average life satisfaction in a country. In these measures, the Nordic countries like Finland, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, and Iceland tend to score highest in the world. Accordingly, it is no surprise that every time this report is published, these countries are consistently in the top 10. But if Finland is the happiest country in the world, should the Finnish suicide rate be the lowest in the world? The World Happiness Report does a great job of measuring life satisfaction, but not happiness. A Gallup survey in 2014 measured the prevalence of several positive emotions in 160 countries. It measured positive emotions like experiencing lots of enjoyment, laughing or smiling a lot, feeling well rested, and being treated with respect. When we look at the results, suddenly Latin American countries such as Paraguay, Guatemala, and Costa Rica are the happiest countries on earth, and Finland is nowhere near the top 10. So many people reporting positive emotions in Latin America at least partly reflects the cultural tendency in the region to focus on the positives in life. The results shouldn't surprise anybody who is aware of the reputation of Finns as people who don't display their emotions and prefer to mind their own business. Things get even more complicated when we look at the prevalence of depression in different countries. Globally, 3.8% of the population suffers from depression, but if we look at Finland, we can see that 6% of the Finns suffer from this mental disorder. One another indicator of happiness is meaningfulness in life. When researchers compared 132 countries based on whether people felt that their life has an important purpose or meaning, African countries including Togo and Senegal were at the top of the ranking, while the US and Finland were far behind. Here, religion might play a role.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking like these countries are generally more religious, and I don't know, you find people have happiness from religion, or they feel like comfort, or it allows them to feel that support. But yeah, with the trend of like less people being religious in Western countries, could could people feel disillusioned, something like that? I don't know, but it's like that's an interesting point.
The wealthier countries tend to be less religious on average, and this might be the reason why people in these countries report less meaningfulness. We can safely say that measuring happiness is complicated, and there's no single way to measure it. Different people define happiness very differently, and the same person or country can be high on one dimension of happiness while being low on another dimension of happiness. But all this doesn't mean Finns aren't happy. Nordic culture is very different from other Western cultures. Finnish culture is very warm and focuses on cooperation rather than competition. Finnish people feel secure and do not worry about the outside world. Finns don't believe in the hustle culture as Americans do. Enjoying life is a critical part of Finnish culture. Finland has one of the best education and healthcare systems in the world. The suicide rate in Finland has fallen dramatically over the last 30 years thanks to the National Suicide Prevention Campaign. It's very clear that Finns enjoy a very high standard of living compared to the rest of the world, and that could be a major reason behind their high satisfaction. If happiness is the prevalence of positive emotions, Finland is not the happiest country. If happiness is the absence of depression, Finland is not the happiest country. But if happiness is about a quiet satisfaction with one's life conditions, then Finland, along with other Nordic countries, might very well be the best place to live.
That was a very nicely produced video. Yeah, I'll leave the link to that in the description, so go follow that channel, or go subscribe. But yeah, really interesting. I guess people watching that and being from Finland will probably have different opinions, clearly, because yeah, it's very hard to define what creates happiness and how you compare that with other countries. There's the comparison with Latin America was also interesting, because you see, like, it can also not just be down to like external factors, it can just be people's personality and like their outlook on life. So very interesting. I think it's an interesting debate. You can tell me how you feel. That was more like, the reason was more just to understand it myself and also to see people's feedback. So tell me what you think. Do you think Finland is the happiest country on earth? Thanks.